to ask, how would you answer the people that would be focused more on a fear-based approach, saying that pulling out is, quote, weakness or showing, quote, failure? How do you try to help people see a different point of view of that approach as something other than a kind of a defeatist way, or maybe some would say denial?
Yeah, this is something that I deal with all the time in the town hall meetings. We had one in North Stonington. We call these events Chats for Change, and we had a Chat for Change on Friday evening in North Stonington. Some of these folks were, shall we say, more to the right on some of the foreign policy issues. And I said to them, look, I've been there. Let me tell you the way that this works. Let me tell you the way it doesn't work. And you realize pretty quickly, much of the information they're getting, they may be getting from Fox News or from CBS or NBC. They're making decisions to support or not support our activity based on snippets and sound bites. But if I look at my own experience on the ground, or if I look more recently, for example, I spoke on 9/11 in New York, a memorial event with veterans. The group's called Veterans Across America. And the first speaker at the press conference was General Ricardo Sanchez, who was the three-star general who led us for a time in Iraq. And then I was the second one to speak there. General Sanchez afterward was very clear that we still don't have a strategy that's working. Now this is the three-star general who was in charge of that theater for us. And then you have to look at the real cost of this thing. There is a human cost and an economic cost. I sat down, John, and the folks on one side of me was a mother of a Marine who was hit by a sniper's round in the spine in Fallujah. He is a quadriplegic. He will never walk again. His life will probably be greatly shortened by his wound. On the other side of me was a young man who was as tough as they get, who came out of West Point, was in an infantry unit, was there on the ground. He was moving in a Humvee one afternoon until an RPG blast blew both of his legs off. So he was on my other side. So for all these folks who like to thump their chest and tell you what a great and grand idea this is, I would say one thing. For those who have never served, for those who haven't worn so much as a Cub Scout uniform in defense of their nation overseas, for those whose kids don't serve and will never serve, I, with all due respect to those folks, would say to them, you know what, if you're willing to go sacrifice, we can have a different discussion. But don't think you're going to send good men and women over on this fool's errand. It's not working. And then I say to people, as I said yesterday in Willimantic at a Rotary event, you want to know where the $1 trillion is to help small business in Connecticut? You want to know where the $1 trillion is for health care for the 46 million Americans uninsured? You want to know where the $1 trillion is for the schools in Bridgeport that can't figure out how to keep the windows fixed and get books or computers in front of kids? That $1 trillion we threw away in the sand. And that is not a good investment. From the perspective of a man who has spent his life creating private sector jobs and focusing on economics and how you make a business work, when I look at that, it's shameful. The lives we have thrown away and the money we have thrown away, we could have spent both in a far better way here at home.